Hi everyone, and welcome to this session titled Beyond Hollywood, the Rise of a New Content Capital. I'm Rana from Mashhad TV and digital platform, and will be moderating this session. And I'm honored to have our panelists with me, who are the forefront of this transformation, Mr. Ziad Kebbi from RefleKT Media, Mr. Boris from Gazprom Media, Mr. Vinod from Z, and Mr. MANJYOT from NARATIV Media. So let's dive into this exciting conversation about how global entertainment is expanding beyond traditional borders. Let's start first with our panelist, Mr. Ziad Kebbi, talking about new power centers. We've seen new regions from Turkey to India and the Middle East, becoming the new content powerhouse. How you see the core factors? What are the core factors that allowed your market to rise the new content capital? And how is your company expanding and using this content capitals?
First, hello everyone, and hello Rana. Nice to meet you in person. I would probably correct a little bit in terms of the question, and I think we are not yet in the Arab world a content capital, if you want to call it this way. We're maybe on the way to becoming. There's a lot of things that need to happen for us to get to a point where we're able to have content that will go beyond our borders. I think there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of planning, building. There are policies that need to start happening for us to become a powerhouse in terms of content export. We are not yet there. So that's mainly my first answer.
Hopefully, we'll. Now, moving to Mr. Boris, what is your opinion about this subject? Let me say that we have a translator for Mr. Boris.
Добрый день, дорогие друзья. Я буду говорить на русском языке, чтобы вы тоже слышали, какой красивый и богатый русский язык. Нам будет переводить наш коллега. Я хочу сказать, что я представитель Gazprom Media, самого большого медиа-холдинга в Восточной Европе. Мы очень сильно развиваемся, мы идем в мир, производим много контента, и на сегодняшний день треть контента, который мы производим, производится в мире, за пределами Российской Федерации.
Good afternoon, dear friends. Thank you for you being here. It is a pleasure that I can speak in Russian. It's great that you can hear how beautiful that language is. And I represent the Gazprom Media Holding. This is the largest media holding in Eastern Europe. And we are processing very actively. And we try to distribute and share our contact with the global.
Сегодня мир сильно меняется, и производство контента сильно меняется, и Голливуд теряет лидерство производства контента в мире.
We are witnessing the relocation of global media centers from the traditional space, Hollywood, towards the dynamic markets.
И локальные рынки начинают диктовать тренды у себя на территориях и становиться частью мировой культуры производства кино и сериалов.
And our region market will become the new center for the film production.
И меняется скорость производства контента. Раньше сериалы производились 3-4 года. Сегодня мы производим сериалы внутри нас за 3-4 месяца. От момента идеи до момента экрана 3-4 месяца.
There is also some changes between the how can we create our movie production and series. For instance, right now we have a very good terms and quality of film production right now.
Чтобы быть в тренде, чтобы успевать за новостями и за событиями, которые происходят сегодня в мире. Например, идет ковид, и у нас показывают кино в масках быстро.
We also like to face with some challenges right now. For instance, if we talk about the COVID time, we change our movie distribution and we just put some mask off just to show it on the screen.
И это очень важно, важно успевать. Почему? Потому что профессиональное производство в кино не должно сильно отставать от контента в интернете.
It also important to be in trend, and we should be in trend. It doesn't matter what we have in our influential.
Фокус сильно смещается, и смещается как в Турцию, так и в Корею, в другие страны. И сегодня Дубай, вот эта территория, она становится очень большим потенциальным игроком в рынке, где можно производить контент 365 дней в году и продвигать этот контент не только на этой территории, но и по всему миру.
In this new media landscape, we have Asia, the GCC countries, Middle East countries, and other region where we can use it like the center for the film production.
Что, собственно говоря, сделали мы? Мы производили здесь шоу.
What we have done by ourselves, we produced and launched here the show. The show calls Survive in Dubai.
Thank you, Mr. Boris. Now moving to Z, what are the core factors at D and how do you see it now?
Yeah, thanks, Rana, for giving this opportunity. Creating content hubs beyond Hollywood. I see there are three trends which are happening in parallel. One is there is more and more movement of people across borders. Now there are soft borders where people travel across geographies, understand and unite with other cultures and amalgamate with other cultures. The second is that due to technology and other forms of connected mediums between people, people are realizing their own standing and their own cultures better. And this is an area of micro segmentation where each person can actually subscribe or express their own interest, and they can consume the content as per their own interests. So the segmentation is going into micro segmentation, in which people want to consume the content the way they want to, on the device they want to, at the time they want to, and the kind of content which they want to watch is not generalized but very specific to a particular audience. The third trend which is happening is basically the rapid evolvement of technology. And technology is enabling the first two factors, in which people are getting more and more connected. And second is providing the specific content title to a particular or in a particular genre to those kind of audiences. Beyond Hollywood, so like I started, there was an age wherein one particular content type was appealing to a very large audience. Then came the era of segmentation, where different kind of genres, different kind of languages, different kind of cultures were there, and we were segmenting the content accordingly. But within that segment, we used to have very few choices. Now is an area of micro segmentation, where each and every segment also has sub-segments along with it. So these kind of trends are happening, and technology is enabling it. Beyond Hollywood, definitely, if you see India as a nation, in fact, Indian subcontinent as a nation, we are a very diverse, culturally. So all the cultures are coming together. The kind of content which is being built within this particular geography actually is an example of a very large audience, right? So this kind of content is getting created in the South Asian market, which is also appealing to the larger audiences in other parts of the world. That is why our content is also started traveling globally and is also appealing to audiences in other places. Till now, we were focusing on Indian diaspora abroad, but now we find this content, appealing to the audiences which are of other nations as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. MANJYOT from NARATIV.
Thanks, Rana. I'm going to keep it very specific so that we can jump back into the conversation. Since we are in the region, I'm going to step back to what Mr. Ziad said. Completely agree. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the region for this content to travel globally. And that was also a huge premise of us setting up this company after 20 years of being in corporate jobs. I guess localization, the understanding of global markets, and most importantly, I've had conversations with a lot of local producers. The intent to produce content for international markets is very important. And I guess the parity on digital and linear ecosystems in the region is something that a lot of policy change needs, because eventually everybody's creating content for television with a very short window.
And this will lead me to the next question. Speaking about localization, how do you see that dubbing, subtitling, and co-production alliances have shaped the way or changed the way of your production strategy and the kind of content you prioritize in your company? Mr. Ziad?
We are not yet at a stage whereby we're using dubbing or what have you, but the thing I want to mention is it's important to think not about translation and dubbing into different languages, to think about emotional resonance. So whatever you are producing has to resonate emotionally with audiences everywhere. And this is what creates the connection beyond the subtitle. So you're actually feeling what you're watching.
So you say that the audience care less about language barriers and more about emotional connections.
I think in this day and age, like in the last few years, yes, I think it's content that has the emotional resonance is starting to travel better, and people are watching languages that they never watched before. So I'll give you an example of a show that recently premiered on Apple TV. It was in the Hawaiian native language, and it was a natural connection because we were able to feel the emotion, the struggle, the conflicts, the characters, and it was the first time ever that we hear this language. So it went beyond the fact that it had to be dubbed or subtitled. I actually preferred to watch it in the original language so that I can really feel the emotion and connect more with the story.
Okay. Mr. Boris, what do you think about localization?
Что вы думаете по поводу локализации?
Да, на самом деле локализация правильного контента, в котором правильный смысл, и она не настолько сложная. Сложнее локализовать контент, у которого смысл и ценности не соответствуют нашему культурному коду.
Localization is not so complicated when we talk about the content, but if we talk about our values and our minds that has in our culture, this is another story.
Да, если у нас правильные ценности, и мы видим правильный контент, то, наверное, проблем с его переводом или адаптацией и даже маркетингом не существует.
If we see correct thoughts, correct values during that content, we can realize the very correct marketing company about that story.
Да, правильные ценности в детском контенте — это правильная семья, мама, папа, мальчик, девочка. В контенте повзрослее — это понятные ценности. Мальчик ходит за руку с девочкой, условно говоря, и в таком формате, и дальше больше, да. А западный контент, почему он теряет на самом деле смысл у нас на наших территориях и даже здесь, в Дубае, в странах Мены, потому что ценности, которые там происходят, они на самом деле, которые там продвигаются, они на самом деле не соответствуют. И таким образом, если мы смотрим фильмы, которые голливудские там, или какие-то американские 2-3-часовые фильмы, они после адаптации становятся час 20, час 15, в 2 раза бывает сокращается. Не буду называть примеры, но в Дубае был проект, который с 3 часов до 48 минут сократили.
If we consider some traditional values, for instance, for kids, we have classical parents like father, like mother, and we see the the right values and the right methods of whole localization project. For the content for adults, for it, we have just two traditional couples of men and women. But if we compare with the Western content, that is not the same. There's a different localization and adaptation format. We have some example about the localization of in Dubai, when we have a project about not we like our company, but Western company has some project with 3.5 hours of contact, but when they localize and adapt for Arabic people, they just change it for about 1 hour content because of the localization and the change in some values, etc.
Thank you, Mr. Boris. Mr. Vinod.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the question for localization is very natural to us. We've been doing this for the last 33 years. We have dealt with a market which is a very, like I said, it's a very diverse market. We are the only company, national company, which took each market on its own. So we had our CEOs, our business heads allocated to a particular geography, understanding the local culture, sourcing the content in that particular language, and showcasing that content in that particular region. Now, recently, what we observed in the past few years that within the regions of the country, content started traveling. Movies like RRR and a few other movies have actually traveled within the geography and outside geography, and this localization we've been doing for quite some time. It's just the scale of localization has increased. For us, it's not we going across borders. It's very natural to us because anyways we were dealing with a very diverse market. It's just the scale of our operation has increased, but the fundamentals have remained same. So, for example, we are the #1 pay TV channel in South Africa. What do we have to do with South Africa? The person who's managing that particular market has understood the nerve of that particular market and has operated it so well that it has become #1 there. Even in MENA, we are in the top spot with Zia Flam and ZL1, and we have given full freedom. We've hired local talent to understand the taste clusters of this particular region and cater to those customers accordingly. So the idea of localization is in the sense to respect that, understand that particular culture, respect that, and make content which is most relevant to them. That we've been doing for the past 33 years, and with more and more content traveling to larger geographies, that has basically scaled up our operation. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Manjyot?
Yeah, so I'm just going to take this conversation away from a broadcaster perspective to a distributor perspective. I guess the core premise that we are looking at doing also as a company is taking the right bold steps, going after underserved markets, removing barriers of localization for content owners, and then opening up markets. We've seen success. To give you an example, with due respect to my Turkish friends here, huge markets like Africa, Asia Pacific, just because they are so fragmented, it eventually boils down to a chicken and egg story of, do we localize first or do we sell first? Because in most of those markets, your license fee doesn't justify localization. So I guess that's where content owners need to be bold, take the first steps, look at languages, look at underserved markets. I think I've always been a firm believer. As long as they're great stories, they travel. You just need to serve it to the right audiences. So we've taken up a couple of content assets which we're doing great bold moves with in certain markets just by localizing them. And we've started to see success already. Yeah.
Okay. Now, while creating content, we try to stay true to the cultural roots. So how do you maintain authenticity while appealing to a wider audience and different regions, Mr. Ziad?
I'll be very quick and short on this one because for me, it's about being the more hyper-local you are and the more authentic you are to your culture, the better you're going to resonate globally.
Of course.
So I'll give a few examples of, like if you take Adolescence, which was a huge hit on Netflix. This was like, very local, very specific, shot in a certain way that went global because it was authentic and true to that specific story. So the more authentic you are, the more local you are, the better you're going to be
Reach
traveling.
the audience. Mr. Boris?
Но у нас большая страна, большое количество людей, и сохранять аутентичность в контенте, мне кажется, что единственное, что можно сделать, это создание контент-центров, что происходит по всему миру.
Russia is a big country, and for us, very important to save some authenticity during our content. And we see the solve that issue just creating some centers where we can produce it.
И в этих центрах на самом деле это больше штук, которая должна помогать производителям, помогать рынкам производить контент, а не регулировать даже, я бы сказал, а именно помогать.
This center is not a regulators, but just like helpers for our creators to produce, to shoot, to realize any content.
Сегодня инструменты помогают очень быстро, и есть инструменты, которые очень быстро делают контент популярным.
Today there are a lot of tools for creating content and to become more popular.
А что в этом контенте? Бывают очень сложные, странные вещи, которые потом тяжело вымыть из головы ребенка, который случайно наткнется на него в интернете или в каких-то пабликах.
It could be very different content during that content where they produce, and sometimes it's very complicated to show it for kids, for instance.
И очевидно, нужно помогать таким людям, которые производят контент, делать его более качественным, правильным и с правильными ценностями и сохранением аутентичности.
And of course, we need to help and to support to our creators to save that authenticity for creating their content.
Но у турков это тоже хорошо получилось в Турции.
Turkey, for instance, has a great job about that.
Да. И мы тоже идем по такому пути.
And we are on the same way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vinod?
Yeah, thank you. I think this is one of the most relevant question for us, Z, as a group. So for us, the thing which works out is that if it's a story which resonates with a particular audience, it will be successful, and that is what we have been doing. So any series which was successful in one part of the country, we actually took that concept, shot it with local actors, actresses, modified the script in a different geography within the country, but in a different geography, with a different language, with a different taste altogether. For example, if it's a dance show, we will do that same concept as a dance show, but modified a bit in some other particular region where we see more relevance of that particular concept, right? So I think whatever content we do has to resonate with the audience. One angle of personalization or localization which we've recently added is that we've noticed that there are the consumption pattern of consumers in different age groups is becoming different. So the new audiences may be more inclined to watch vertical content or short form content. Their attention span is low, and it is becoming even more for a very they want snackable content. They want the story to finish fast. They just want to scroll through. So that is the trend which we are observing in the new audiences. While we are there for all kinds of audiences, so what we have ensured now is, as part of our localization strategy, that whenever we shoot a content, we ensure that it is all the shots are taken in all formats. The same shot is done in the vertical format, horizontal format, in the short format, and in the long format, so that we don't have to adapt that time and again. So and we later on we stitch it together in a sense that it can cater to all kinds of audiences. That is a step bold step which we have taken. I think this is industry first. Whatever content comes, we have the backup of it being localized to different kinds of audiences within the geography. But like I said, if you talk about other geographies, we treat every geography very different, and we travel the script and the concepts to different geographies. But then definitely we prefer adapting it to the local languages and the local cultures rather than just dubbing it. You'll find very few, very less focus on just dubbing and selling it across markets. We actually try to cater to each market differently. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the question of authenticity and sensitivity on when you're creating content would stem from the intent that you have behind creating that content. Are you creating it for your local market? Are you creating it with the intent of it traveling the world? So, I mean, to give you an example, I would confidently assume that a lot of content that's created in India and in the Arab world is created for the regions itself, with an assumption that if it travels the world, it's fine. Otherwise, it's okay. While I guess the success of some content assets like Turkish drama, etc., at production stage, while it integrates the sensitivity and the culture of the region, it still is made with the intent of traveling the world. So I think it's about how you're balancing that together. But eventually, it all comes down to economics, as Mr. Ziad said. What are you really chasing? Somebody needs to go out there and be a little bold about it. Yeah.
Sure. There should always be a balance between authenticity and traveling abroad and reaching a wider audience.
That's what I would believe in.
No, if you look at Turkish dramas and Korean content as well, Turkish dramas did not travel before they were super successful locally. So they had to be authentic for the audience, and that's why they became so successful when they traveled.
Exactly. Now, talking about streaming platforms, how do you think partnership with streamers helped your company strategy to reach a wider audience and also to study the audience behavior in producing the content you are delivering to them?
So,
Are we talking about global streamers or regional streamers? Because we have to make a distinction. If it's global streamers, it's only a one-way street. So it's what they want to push. Mm-hmm. It's not about local producers and what have you. It's a one-way street so far, at least in the Arab world. And there's no insight. So even if some of the producers have managed to work with global streamers, you have no insight. They don't share data. They don't share any type of insight. It's only when they feel it's successful enough that they commission further seasons. But if I'm looking at the scripted side of things, there's only one series that got a recommission, two actually, on Netflix. And it was IP coming from them. So it's still, for me, it's still a one-way street. There's no exposure to local producers. It's very difficult to get through. They try to force mainly the content that they want to push globally. They push in all regions all over the world. So I'm hoping that one day there'll be more balance in that relationship.
Thank you. Mr. Boris?
На самом деле со сценариями работа проводится сообществом, которое у нас квалифицированно этим занимается. Это очень интересная часть. Если говорить несколько лет назад мы очень много брали франшизных историй, производили больше по франшизам и нарабатывали компетенцию.
Actually, we have a qualified community for doing that job. And for instance, several years ago, our main activity was about the franchising story, just to sell a franchise, but now it's changing.
Сегодня же по определенным причинам мы не берем сценарии и разрабатываем сами, и сами ими делимся. То есть фактически создаем франшизы, как в кино, так и в шоу, в производстве шоу.
Today we are not working with the scripts directly. We just try to create a format like a franchise, just to expand it globally.
Если говорить про проекты ко-продакшена, которым мы занимаемся, например, мы снимаем проект с китайцами, сейчас большой проект мирового уровня, и сценарий разрабатывается с двух сторон, и нашими сценаристами, и их сценаристами, и адаптируется на разные виды аудитории, на Китай, на Россию, и, конечно же, мы просматриваем реализацию этого проекта в мире.
At the moment, we have a big project with China, and together co-production project with China, big story. And we working from the both side. We work just from Russia and the China side to create a script, to create whole story, to create the whole project, and we plan to release it very soon.
Да, и это работа, которая делается ежедневно, она продвигается. И если бы кто-то знал историю успешного сценария, сейчас бы каждый такой человек был бы на вес золота и становился миллионером. Вот у нас был проект, мы его «Эпидемия», мы его показывали на Netflix, это проект Gazprom Media Holding.
If someone knows how to be successful in this story, that all of us will be successful. But we have a good project, it calls Epidemia, and we've already shown it on Netflix. This is our franchise.
И его начали снимать до того, как случился коронавирус, и он как раз попал в это время, и его показывали в это время.
The interesting fact that we started to shoot it before the COVID, and we just became in trend when we realized that.
И это русский проект, сделанный в России, и мы им гордимся.
This is a Russian project that made in Russia, and we're proud of it.
У нас не было никакого инсайда, что будет ковид.
We don't have any insight that we have a COVID after that.
Снимать его начали за 2 года до этого.
Because we started before 2 years before COVID.
Да, спасибо.
Thank you.
Mr. Vinod.
Yeah, I completely agree with Boris. So the question of getting the data which feeds into the trends from the OTT network is very, very important. I think, and this is the trend which we observed at Z, and we launched our own OTT application around 7 years back. Like I said, we've been a market leader for the past 3 decades, but lately we observed in the last decade that it's very important to have your presence in the digital market. And I firmly believe that you talk about syndication or media, it's becoming more and more digital. Any event which you observe, the percentage of people who want content for digital is substantially increasing year on year. And this is the trend which we are seeing right now. When we launched our OTT application around 7 years back, it was just to enter into the digital space. But what came out was very interesting. A lot of trends started feeding into the ecosystem to mold the content buying stage itself. So one of the trend which I clearly remember, because I was part of the digital arm of our company before this, is that we found women-centric content being accepted more in our part of the world, where women are standing up, women are having their own life, their own say. Those kind of content titles, we saw the viewership, we saw the trends through the digital medium, which finally took shape to form our strategy for the next decade. And today you see a lot of shows centered around that particular theme or that particular broad strategic points, in which and there are quite a few shows which have been quite successful. One of them is Mrs., which was a low budget show, but it showed a woman that after marriage, what happens and how she was, what dreams she had before marriage, and after marriage what happens, and how she struggled to fulfill those dreams. So it was a low budget content. We ourselves didn't believe that it will do so well. We didn't put that much marketing money into it. In fact, we had put in money for some other title which we thought would be a hit, which did not turn out to be a hit, and we had to rechannel that money to this particular series, which started doing well, and even today it's doing well. So that's the theme which comes out from the trends when we observe the digital space very closely. The advantage of being present in an OTT space is that you start getting market trends very quickly and very authentic trends. So I think the combination of having a broadcast network and an OTT network is the best combination one can have. Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Mashhad.
So I guess we're fairly new to be talking about large partnership with streamers, but yeah, like I would completely discount the large streamers because there are really no partnerships there. I think they dictate what they want and that's what's produced. But I think out of previous experiences and also at Narrative, I guess we firmly believe we have this interesting tagline which is embedded into everybody's DNA, where we say your story, every screen. And that's the premise that we started with. I guess there are appropriate screens that each content asset can travel across the world. But to answer your question, I think fast is great to be on, more from a data standpoint than a revenue standpoint. And we've seen that with a lot of fast partnerships that we've done with certain partners in the region. The insights that come out of there can be very, very aggressively and actively used to go and do the right streaming partnerships. Because in absence of data, I guess, and the arrogance that some of the large streamers come with, I think these could be some success stories on partnerships that we can work on together. Yeah.
My last question for you will be, where do you see the next wave coming from of content? Which content will resonate more? And what advice do you give to emerging creators, the advice you give them to reach a wider audience, a larger audience? Mr. Ziad.
I want to speak about the A factor, like the K factor, so the Arab factor. I believe that this region has potential, but first we need to, in my own humble opinion, we need to do three things. We need to first master the art of storytelling. So we need to spend time to train, work, educate. Second, we need to create massive local hits. And third, we have to have volume. Once we're able to achieve these three, I think maybe in a few years from now, we can start talking about the A factor.
Thank you. Mr. Boris, what's your advice?
Я бы, наверное, да, спасибо за вопрос. Я бы, наверное, не назвал территорию. Я бы сказал, что следующее и вообще в ближайшем будущем все это будет происходить в одном месте, называется интернет. Это не страна, это в инфополе.
Thank you for that question. I cannot answer correct or just detail a territory geographically where it can be, but I know one place where it exactly should be. It is internet, you know that.
Да, потому что в интернете нет границ.
There are no any borders in internet.
Да, а что делать и как расти? Вот, например, можно любую команду сравнить с футбольной командой.
What to do? Just we can compare any team with football, soccer team.
И собрать профессионалов, которые побеждают, которые делают большие счета, это самая главная задача.
We can collect professional, and this is the main task.
И это не только профессионалы, которые 30 лет могли делать одно и то же, читать сценарий, писать сценарий или режиссеры.
This is not just a professional that already done it for 30 years, for instance.
Мир очень сильно меняется, и глобализация всего происходит очень быстро.
The world is changing, and the globalization pass fast.
И сегодня молодые продюсеры, которые буквально несколько лет производят контент, могут показать в статистике гораздо лучшие результаты, чем это делают другие люди, профессионалы.
Today young creators, young producers can become more popular, more effective than maybe some olders.
И победить могут только те, кто будут объединяться, эра команд.
And the winners can be only those who can collect or just unite in one team.
И Голливуд начинает проигрывать не потому, что там плохие ребята, а потому, что не хотят ни с кем объединяться.
Hollywood is gonna lose because they don't want to unite.
А мы объединяемся с Индией, мы объединяемся с исламским миром, мы объединяемся с Турцией, объединяемся с Китаем.
And we're trying to unite with Arabic world, with China, with India, with Turkey.
Это как раз те территории, о которых был, наверное, вопрос, которые будут развиваться в интернете вместе.
And I think this is exactly the territory that can be developed together with internet.
И мы точно станем самыми сильными.
And we definitely be stronger and the best one.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vinod.
Yeah, I think the next wave of, and I completely agree with Mr. Boris, that the internet is going to be a big thing. And I feel that the next wave of evolution will be youth-led. So the youth of today are the paying customers of tomorrow, and it is very important to observe very carefully what those youth preferences are and how the trends are emerging. One of the I can name couple of trends, although there are much more, but a few trends are really coming out. One is the personalization and platform fluidity. Personalization, like I was saying, it's an era of micro segmentation in which we can segment the customers much more with much more precise tools to reach those niche segments and audiences. And when you start catering to these audiences in a very niche way, they start developing in their own way. So there will be micro segments which will start developing very strongly within themselves. Second is platform fluidity. People want to be platform agnostic, whether it's a mobile screen or a tablet or a TV or whatever medium they want to consume in. They want to consume in a hassle-free way. So that trend is also youth-led, and that trend is actually catching up very fast. The second thing which we are observing about youth is that they are moving from escapism to realism. So youth of today are very bold, and they don't want escapism as a storytelling concept. They want realism of things which are practically happening, and the stories which relate to this kind of realism are something which are actually turning out to be successes in the youth audience. And tomorrow, when this youth audience becomes the paying customers and starts to replace the current audiences, these trends will have more and more power, and they will start growing. Thank you.
Sir Vinod?
Yeah, so like I said, like everybody said, I can't pinpoint a particular region where the next wave is coming from, but I guess there's some very, very important trends that we should all watch out for. And in fact, somebody's said this yesterday at one of the panels, and it resonates hugely, and I strongly believe in it, that everybody is saying that TV is dead, but I guess TV is not going anywhere, it's going everywhere, and that's what somebody said. It's just the way it's going to get distributed across different platforms. I mean, probably you can talk about satellite and pay and whatever, but people are just going to watch more television. And I guess what you can't ignore is the creator economy. The fluidity of the creator business is now, I mean, today independent creators are becoming organizations by themselves. And to really get hold of the attention economy per se, premium IP is here to stay, but you can't, I think we really need to watch out for how the creator economy is evolving. That said, I'm not a big believer in the vertical space. I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't know how long that fad is going to last. But sorry about that, yeah.
Thank you. Since we have time left, I'll open the door to any questions. Does anyone have any question for our panelists?
Thank you, all of you. Very insightful everything that you said. How do you see the future of cross multicultural productions? We are coming from Latino America market, and we built our industry in the latest 15 years by co-productions between Europe, US, now looking forward to do something here. But how do you see the near future for the growing of the knowledge, of the talent of the region, of the cross multicultural regions? Because from us coming from Latin America seems to be very far to be here, and maybe for you the same as well. So how do you think on that?
Who wants to answer the question? Mr. Vinod?
Yeah, so I can take up first and then my colleagues can join in. I think there's a huge scope for especially co-productions. One important trend which has not been explored so far is that we have African content, we have Latin content, we have European content, we have Indian content and the likes. A merger of two content types have not happened so far, right? And that is something which we want to focus upon. In real life, you see people of multiple ethnicities, from multiple countries and all, but that has not translated that well to the real life. When you were talking about Latin market, we are producers from Latin market. Of course, you'll take the stories from Latin market and everything, and cross cultural and multiple ethnicities. That's an underexplored area, I would say. We have recently co-produced one of our shows called Valentina in the Latin market, which has been hugely successful. One of our partners is buying that content or licensing that content as well. So it has been a huge success, and we want to build on that and produce more and more such content types in other areas, other geographies as well. The idea is simple. How do we, and this trend is going to emerge in the future, where production houses of two different regions will come together to produce a content which appeals to both the audiences. This trend, I think, will pick up. So if you ask me what is the scope, yes, there is a scope. Has the time come? That is not a very that's not a, I cannot answer in a very straightforward way, because there are trends which are coming up. When it clicks, nobody knows. Yeah.
Thank you all for joining this session. Thank you, our
Thank you.
panelists. Thank you.